In this video, I want to talk about the two different ways that you can add background color to your page. Here's an example of a page that already has it set up, and this is what you're going to be doing for your homework. So now I'm going to go through starting with a blank page. I'm going to right-click on an existing file in my Files panel and choose New File. I'm going to leave it at Untitled just for the sake of the practice and double-click the Dreamweaver icon to open it up. So as we saw in our first examples on my other video, you could go to Page Properties, click on Page Properties, and we're going to only work in the Appearance CSS category, not the HTML category. The Appearance category is where I get the field for background color. I can click on that and I can move my slider around to change the hues that I have here. And I'm going to try to get something that's somewhat similar to what I had originally. And then I'm going to click into my window. I see currently where I am, and I can sort of move that around. It helps me isolate and see what color I have. And I just want to point out that we're working with the hexadecimal color mode. I will talk about the RGB and the HSL color modes as well, but currently the number that we're working on is the default, which is the hex color mode. Once I've found the color I'm satisfied with, I can just click out and it has put that hexadecimal number in my field for me. If I want to see the way it looks on my page without closing out this window, I can hit Apply, and now I see that in the background. So if I'm satisfied with that, I can click OK, and this window will be closed out. Over here in my code view, I can see what Dreamweaver just added for me. It added a couple of things. It added an opening and closing style tag, and added the specific rule targeting my body, which is my background, and giving it a background color of this hexadecimal value. And it added the syntax for me with the semicolon, the colon and the semicolon, the opening curly brackets. Okay, so that's the beginning of our CSS, and we could continue adding more CSS as long as we kept it within those style tags. So all of the rules, all of the design features you want to add to your page, they have to stay within these style tags. But for this video, I'm just going to stick with background color. So now let's do this again from scratch. I'm going to use create another file. And the reason is I want you to learn Dreamweaver, but I also want to make sure that you've learned some CSS and HTML on your own, because perhaps once you're done with this class, you want to keep working on the web, but you don't have access to Dreamweaver. So let's see, how do we do the exact same thing over here in the code? Now, if it's CSS, it has to be between the head tags. So I'm going to go after my title tag and come down a line, so I'm right before my closing head tag, and I know that it all has to get wrapped in the style tag, so I'm going to start typing in, oops, sorry, I put the wrong, my shift didn't work. So I'm going to start typing in style, and I get the code helpers. I can double click style, and that's going to, it's going to fill in that field for me, space, and I'm going to start typing in type, style type is, and then it fills that out for me. I double clicked it and it gives me these two quotes. Text/CSS is what I want it to say, and I'm going to close that out. Now I'm going to come down a line and put a closing style tag, and Dreamweaver filled that out for me. I just started to put my single slash. So I now have set up my page that I have the opening and closing style tag, and now I can go ahead and start putting in some CSS styles. Remember, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. So these are styles, also sometimes called rules. So to set up a background color, I am targeting the body tag. So I type in body, I put in an open curly bracket. I'm going to come down a line. I get my code helpers, and the words are going to be background color. And I can use my code helpers to just double click where it says background color. It puts in the semicolon for me. I can now click on where it says color, and I'm going to get that same color picker. Or I could simply copy and paste this hexadecimal value that I have from the other page. But since we're just starting fresh, I'm going to say that's about the right color. And see, is it going to implement it? Yes, it did. It put it in for me. I have to add the semicolon. And I'm going to come down a line, and I'm just going to move this out for a second so you can see. I haven't closed this rule, so my style tag here on the bottom is no longer pink. And that's sort of a sign that something's wrong, that I haven't closed the rule. So as soon as I put my closing curly bracket, notice how that becomes pink again, or sort of, I don't know, purple. And that's a sign that my CSS rule has been closed. This is a complete rule. It has an opening to closing bracket. It is within the style tag. So those are two different ways. You can really add the color however you want. If you want to use page properties, that's absolutely fine. If you want to start getting used to just working directly in the code view, we just need to make sure you add the opening and closing style tags. You're targeting the body tag, and you're putting in background color, choosing your value, adding your semicolon, and your closing bracket.